Hey guys, how you doing? So, a serious question for you. Are you spinning? Because I'm not spinning. That's something I know. So, I could probably spend hours and hours trying to convince you that you're not spinning. And you might even still think you're spinning. But an example is, well, there's lots of examples. But tonight, I have several videos lined up, ready to go, and I'm gonna probably not be on here talking very long, but playing some videos. And I kind of went through some videos, and there's gonna be a wide variety of subject matter. So just so it doesn't surprise you, there might be something about the Bible, and then there might be something about the earth, and then there might be something about the truth, and then there might be some whatever. You get me. I'm gonna say hi to the chat room. Cold Fire. Actually, I'll start at the top. I'll get to you. I'll say hi. Cindy Heeman, good to see you. Good to see you. Cold Fire Ice 8044. Oh, that's too bad you're going to bed. Well, you can always catch it later. Mike Bailey. Good to see you. Good to have you here. Oh, Timothy. I watched your video last night. Not the whole thing, but I was watching for a while on your live stream last night. That was good stuff, for sure. Good to see you. And Anthony Dickinson. Good to see you, brother. So I do have some of the videos I have that I'm probably going to start out with. I have a couple verses, Bible verses I want to read first, but the one I'm going to probably start off with is it's going to be one that in the video I'm trying to make common sense out of things we sense and things that we perceive in this world, actual things and realistic things in reality. So just like people say Earth spins on its axis, and I argue with that. It doesn't spin at all, and there is no axis. So that's all in their mind. That's what I'm saying. And the idea that I used to have, and the idea that a lot of people still have, and a lot of people have overcome this idea, myself included, but I used to think that there was some kind of rule or some kind of authority that doesn't exist, and it's only part of something that we imagine, but it's very real to imagine it. I remember when I was looking at flat Earth for the first few times, I was saying, but that just couldn't be true. That couldn't be like that. It just couldn't be. But it is. So when that cognitive dissonance, or whatever you want to call it, starts kicking in, make sure you check yourself and be like, well, am I really actually paying attention to the things, to the proof and the evidence that we do have? Or am I still bowing down to this invisible authority? This authority that says stars are distant suns, and this authority that, do you know what I'm saying? I should make up a term for that. Maybe call it like the world authority. Kind of like it's a, I don't know the right words to use. It's something that overwhelms us. Everyone in this world, it overwhelms us. And there is a way to overcome it, and it is by believing the truth. And then when you believe the truth, my belief is that you are going to be shown the truth. You'll see it with your eyes. It's a miracle. So a couple more people came in. I saw Allison Lay Lyons. Good to see you. And I saw Flatjacks. I love that name, Flatjacks. That's awesome. And Roderick, good to see you. Good to have you. All right. So one thing. Okay, if Earth was rotating, then what would an earthquake be? Because just the word earthquake implies that the Earth isn't moving, unless there's an earthquake. So it'd be like stationary Earth, and then there was an earthquake, so that the ground moved. It quaked, right? Let's see here. I'm looking for something because I was in Psalm 18. There's just an interesting verse there that reminded me of something. Psalm 18 verse 7 says, "Then the earth shook and trembled, the foundations also of the hills moved and were shaken, because he was wroth." That means they were moving, and trust me, you will know when they're moving. I didn't. I'm gonna have to go get my other. I thought I brought my other laptop down. I will have to get that when we're watching our first video, but that kind of screws up a little bit of what I was gonna do. I started to make a list of things, a fun list, you guys, just of simple things that we never did. Things that we never did that we all should have done or should have had the opportunity to do, and we just didn't. Example, think back to the time, to the day, to the moment that you first realized, oh, of course Earth is rotating. Like, what were you looking at when you came across this epiphany, or whatever you want to call it? What day was that? How old were you? Were you 6? Were you 8? Were you 3? Or did it never happen? For me, it never happened. There was never a moment that I said, oh, Earth is a ball, duh. But guess what? There was a time that I said, Earth is flat, duh. And then I'm still there. Like, duh. Now, I'm not ripping on anybody that doesn't see this way. I'm saying that when you get to the other side of the fence or whatever, when you get to a new way of thinking, you look at, this happens in all sorts of things, but you look at the old way that you used to think, and it's kind of ridiculous. Like if you're building something over and over again, the same thing, and you have kind of like a system that you use to build it, right? I'm just relating building because I build things. You got a system of how an order of operation and everything, and how you come out with the end product that is consistent and quality and whatever. Well, when you make an improvement to your system that you use to build these, whatever you're building, that's a good thing. And when you're using that in your system, you're using that improvement in your system, and now you're going, wait a minute, why did I ever do it the old way? It makes no sense what I used to do. Because we all learn, and we learn better ways to do things. We learn, and in this case specifically, I'm talking about the truth. We learn the truth, and then, hey, it's Chris A. What's up with the firmament? What's up, the firmament? Haven't seen you for a while. Good to see you. Let's see here. I'm just gonna check out the chat a little bit. Oh, nice, Timothy. Your mom is speechless, huh? That's awesome. Yeah, and you know what? We do have to keep working on waking up. That's our job. That's why we're here. That's why we found ourselves seeing this interesting way, this new way, this new world that we see. We see a new world, and we see a new heaven too, if you think about it. Let's see here. Should we do a video? I kind of want to, maybe I'll play a couple videos and then I'll come back on, because I gotta go get my laptop I had some stuff typed out there that I'm not going to remember it all off the top of my head. So I do have a video which I think I'll just hide myself over here, and I just gotta find which one it is. I got a lot of videos about water, but we're not gonna start off with one. Well, it has water in it, but first let's listen. Or where is it here? Sorry, I got a lot of videos to go through, you guys. Wow, a lot. We could start out with Simon, Dan, and Greta. Let's just do that really quick.
Hello all, and welcome to another episode of Effed Up World TV. I'm your host, Simon Dan.
Thank you, come again.
If Earth is supposedly rotating, why don't you have any proof? It is like you have to imagine something to believe that it is rotating. Why do you think it is rotating? I think it is not rotating. I live on it, and I don't see any reason to believe that it is rotating. What could possibly make you think it is rotating? If it was rotating, you would have evidence of it rotating, but it is just sitting there, perfectly stationary with no signs at all of any rotating.
Make sure to subscribe to Effed Up World for more Flat Earth videos. Thank you.
Earth is flat and motionless, and it's obvious because of water. And look around, it's not moving. Well, if Earth was rotating on its axis, you wouldn't feel the motion. Yeah, you're right. Similar to when I ride on a merry-go-round. Marble on there. I wouldn't feel the motion. How ridiculous is that? Riding on a tilt-a-whirl. You wouldn't feel that motion. That's how ridiculous the idea of Earth rotation is. This is a linear acceleration sensor on my phone. If I try to hold it really still, see the line gets thin. Now if I start moving it, see how you can see those? Just showing you. That's my green screen. But we have ways of sensing these things. And not only that, you have to add on to that the rotation of the Earth around the Sun. So something like this. Oi. Alright, so I think I lost the whole thing I was typing up on my other computer. So that's interesting. Don't worry though. Let's hear from Greta. She has something she wants to say about, well, she's kind of upset. I'll just let her say it.
This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. How dare you pretend? How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words. Live with the consequences. How dare you?
Okay, so yeah, she seems pretty upset. I see No Timothy writes she gets 2 cents every time she's on Effed Up World. So yeah, I suppose I should play her complaint. She was complaining the other day again, and I was working on trying to figure out a way to like maybe give her a raise or something, and she's just not happy about it.
How did I end up on the Effed Up World TV channel? I didn't sign up for this.
See what I mean? She's not real happy about her new contract. I'm just kidding. Oh, you like the fake Greta hand? Yeah, that was awesome. I think she's good at pointing out the problem. Okay, let's see here. We already heard her talking about rotating. Now we're going to... I have to see if I can find on my computer. I know I saved what I was trying to get. I know I saved it, so I have to find it while we watch another video. And I think we'll watch some Sesame Street. How's that?
Oh, finally! The rain finally stopped. It's a good thing, too, because I want the sun to come out. I'm about to wake Oscar up and show him this picture of water. Yeah, that's right. I want to show him this water and how flat the surface of it is. And it's a good thing because I know that Oscar's not grouchy on Saturdays.
Hey, Oscar! Hey, take a look at this! Oscar! I got something to show you! Oscar!
What? I wanted you to see how flat this water was in this picture.
Hey, Telly, I'm a grouch.
So?
So? I don't like things that are beautiful. I don't like being bothered for no reason at all.
Yeah, but you would like something I just learned about the water. It's flat.
Why should I like to look at the water?
Because...
God made water to be level at its surface.
I don't care about stuff like that.
No?
No, there's no reason for a grouch to care about water.
Yes, there is. There's lots of reasons.
Come on, why should I care about water? Telly, go away.
But this is something God showed us, and it's true. And he wouldn't have showed us unless it was important. And it is important because it's true. And you're believing lies.
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. So, listen, who cares?
Well, look, Oscar, I'm only showing you because I care a lot about you.
No, and no!
Oh. So, does that mean you don't want to look at the picture of air I collected? Huh. I'll take that as a no.
Yeah, Oscar's a grouch, that's for sure. He doesn't care about things like water being flat, even though that's a big deal. That's something really important, I think. As I can show you with my dry erase board quite easily. See, we live in a time where even pastors preach that we're spinning.
If you believe in the flat earth, you are a complete idiot.
What do you expect me to believe? We're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour? You know?
Why can I jump up and down? Why is it not just... Where were we? The earth that's spinning.
Hey, well, how do you know that we're not standing still? You know that we're not standing still.
Where were we? Where were we? Earth is spinning. So if the earth that's spinning, earth, where were we? It's spinning. Then it would be like everything is like, I mean, at amazing speeds. This problem of the fact that there's 7 or 8 other planets. But anyway, you know, there's 8 other planets. But anyway, planets going around the sun too. That's kind of where this geocentricity thing falls apart. Planets doesn't work. Okay. Here, spinning, but planets spinning, spinning, but planets spinning, but it's actually the earth that's spinning, Either way, the earth that's spinning.
What are some of the easiest ways that you can prove that the Earth is flat? There are so many proofs that the Earth is flat. It's difficult to know where to start. And it's not okay to think that the Earth is a sphere. This is not a viable argument. There are proofs all around you. It is not difficult to know that the Earth is flat. In fact, people have known this for way more than 2,000 years. Go out to a lake, flat. And you could make all kinds of measurements. Then there are some other proofs that are a little more obscure, but they're actually really lovely. So people have known that the Earth is flat for thousands of years. It's not okay to say that the Earth curved. And it's something where I keep getting this question. We really need to put this question to bed because we've known the Earth is flat. Flat.
All right, so I can't find what I was trying to find. So that's okay, though, because we've got Don Pettit. Let's see what he has to say.
I would go back to space in a nanosecond. That's what I do for a living. I'd be willing to immigrate from Earth, immigrate into space, leaving Earth and never come back so long as, one, we had the technology so that you could survive. You know, one-way missions to Mars where you go there and then run out of air and die. That's not in the cards. I'd load my family up on the next rocket and we'd immigrate into space.
Okay, so where does the pee go if you do it in the spacecraft?
In the spacecraft, it's collected and then dumped, as he described. And you would want to see that the urine dump was cool.
And it's just something that it's a continual occurrence. It's like a very small rain, a drizzle, and it's just something that you have to engineer around when you make a spacecraft. Well, I would go back to space in a nanosecond.
Get thee hence, Satan. For it is written, thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve.
Oh yeah, Don Pettit. He'd go to space in a nanosecond. He'd move his whole family there on a rocket. Why? I think that's crazy. Oh, Timothy says, does anyone stop to think, I can't believe we're living in the greatest deception ever, in the end times, and literally the entire world believes this completely absurd globe fantasy. I couldn't have said it any better myself, oh Timothy. Thank you. Yeah, it is insane times. Definitely. So I have a video. I'm working on grabbing together some verses that I had in mind. I wanted to explain just the simple, like the basic idea, or my understanding anyway. It might differ from other people, but my understanding of the basic idea of this creation that we live in, this world, the entire reality. Because even the first book of the Bible, if you really think of, the first verse in the Bible, it is Genesis 1 verse 1, and it says, "In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth." And I know a lot of people kind of think of that as he just created this place, heaven and earth, but no, that's not how it is. He actually created two places, and they're completely separate from each other. There's heaven, and then there's earth. We live on earth, and we look up to the sky to see heaven, which is a subject that is very important, and I'm still working on a video about what is the sky. What is the sky? It's blue sometimes, it's black sometimes, it's orange sometimes, it's filled with lights, it turns, it spins. See, that's back to the earth rotation idea. Wouldn't it be more accurate for anyone living on the earth to say the sky is spinning, the sky is rotating on an axis, or whatever you want to say, on a center or Polaris? How about that? Because we can all look up and see it moving. If you go outside right now, if you have a clear sky and you look up, find a constellation, just make a mental note where it is, and then come back in here and watch the rest of this live stream. And then when we're done, go back out, and you will see that that constellation that you made a mental note of is not going to be in the same spot as it was if you go out right now. So all I'm saying is that that's solid evidence and proof that the stars are moving through the sky, just like the sun and the moon. This morning I got up and I looked to the east to see the sun, and then when the sun was going down, I had to turn myself around and in order to see the sun in the west going down. And what this proves, and there's really no argument for it, what it proves is that the sun moved across the sky throughout the day over my head. There's no other way to put it. You could say, like a lot of people want to tend to say this next, and if I asked the chat, they'd be able to tell me I know that. But relative to what? Relative to the only place you've ever lived or will ever live for your entire life, every minute and second of your entire life. So relative to you, that's what it means. That's what I mean. When they say relative to something else, like they want to pretend that they live on the moon or something, they don't live on the moon. Nobody lives on the moon. Nobody ever will live on the moon. Even if they pretend that they're living on the moon, they won't be living on the moon. Let's see here. Oh, I probably could have done this and said, hey. I have a lot of videos, but I really want to... Let me see here. I'm just going to get this situated, and then I'm going to get a different background going. But, yeah, hey, Daniel, good to have you. Good to see you. Liam Unruly, good to see you. Good to see you guys. Thanks for stopping by. And, of course, everyone that's not in the chat, too. Thank you for stopping by. So, proof is easy to come by. You just have to go out and look for it. So, like, Timothy was doing a live stream yesterday, and he was simply showing just footage from his camera and talking about it. You can easily prove flat earth by doing that. And actually, if I caught you right, I don't remember his name that was on your channel, but it appeared that he might have been on the fence, but he he was admitting or saying that, yeah, we can actually debunk the globe if we're thinking and we're using our minds, and we pay attention to observations that we make and our perceptions and our senses. Just like right now, the room you're in or wherever you are, just look around the room, get really quiet, look around the room, and tell me what gives you the idea you're spinning. Because everything in here is just solid. There's a foundation under my house that's never moved. It was actually 20 years ago that they poured a concrete foundation for my house. It's never moved. It's always been there. Every time I pull in the driveway, there's the house sitting in the same spot as it ever was. So the ground itself, and I know some people say, you're using ridiculous arguments. Well, maybe, but it's a point that I'm trying to make. Nothing ever happened that, like if I was to punch you in the shoulder, your shoulder would go, ugh, like that, and it would move. And that's how you would know that I punched you, is because it would make some noise, maybe, a sound, and your arm would move, and my arm would stop. And that's how we would both know that I punched you in the shoulder. That's how we would know, is because it would move. So there was something that happened that we both or you perceived, and you observed it, and the effects of it or whatever. That's how we know that I punched you. If I just told you right now, hey, I just punched you in the shoulder, how would you know if I did or didn't? Because you would say, no, you didn't. You're in a different state than I am, or you're in a different country than I am. How could you have punched me in the shoulder? Well, that's what you're doing with rotation of the earth. Nobody's rotating you. Nobody's giving you any kind of sign at all that you're moving or rotating, and you're saying, I'm rotating. Now, not all of you are saying that, but I'm hoping that less and less people are saying that, because it's totally imagination entirely. Because, again, the room you're in right now, look at the floor. Your cell phone might have a app that's like a seismograph. I think that's what it's called. And if you set that on the ground, it's not going to register anything moving. So, know who's what with the wits it gets it guy. Dang, that's rough. Oh, no, I didn't, Anthony. Anthony says, did y'all see Austin's car get hit while he was doing a live video? Wow. No, I didn't. Hopefully he didn't get hurt, hopefully. Even though he probably would breeze right through whatever happened, because he's on a mission. He's got something to do that it's so important what some people are doing that a car accident wouldn't stop him. He was on a roll too. Oh, it's on Facebook. I'll have to look for that. So yeah, you're not moving, you're not rotating. Here's another little proof. Okay, the speed of sound is like 767 miles an hour, which is really fast. And if you live at the equator, if you're on a spinning ball, you're going faster than that. You're going 300, almost 300 miles an hour faster than that. Like 270 miles an hour faster than the speed of sound. So how's that work out? Like, how does that work out? If you're moving faster than sound to it would be, I guess, to the east, right? Not like I care. Pick one. Okay, so you're moving towards the east at 1,037 or 38 miles an hour. Then how do you speak to your neighbor that's west of you. How does that happen? Here's another one. And then, of course, people are going to say, the atmosphere moves along with the earth. And what causes that? Magic? I don't think the atmosphere moves at all with the earth. It's just there. It's part of this realm. Remember, God created the heaven and the earth. And then he talks about the earth. The earth was without form and void. Something like that. I better read it. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. You know how God sits on he sits on his throne, and this is literal, you guys. This is real. He sits on his throne above the circle of, okay, so here's the circle of the earth. God sits on his throne up here. There's a sea of glass, and what we just read in Genesis 1, his spirit is hovering over the waters, or upon the face of the waters. So there's these dark waters, and the throne is sitting on the top of those, on the face of them, on like the very top of them. That's the throne. And in Psalm 18, it backs that up. It says the darkness was underneath God's feet. Uh-oh, we got a visitor. It's the feisty one, too. Bobby, come here. Maybe you guys can see Bobby. Come here. Sometimes Bobby's not too excited about... Hey, Bobby. There you go. We'll see if Bobby... No, Bobby's not going to stick around. That's Bobby. Scratchy Bob. Just crazy. Cat is crazy. Okay. Oh, it's the Cupcake's over there sleeping. Cupcake's... You know how Cupcake's like gray? My couch is gray, and that there's like a footstool that's gray, and Cupcake kind of, that's my footstool. So, Daniel says, Amen, the Lord Jesus is worthy to be praised. Amen. Definitely. And you know what? Like, I don't even think we even understand the level of what that means. I mean, we know how to praise him, but what I'm saying is, I think it's something so big. And the reason why is that, like, after I read the ascension of Isaiah, or the vision of Isaiah, or whatever, he was talking about all those angels and all their glory, or all their praise goes up through the heavens, and it all goes to the seventh heaven, or whatever. It goes to God. And they were singing praises, and he just made it sound like it was such a immense thing. I think we can't even comprehend what that is, especially what it is in the future, maybe. But I didn't get Cupcake yet, but I got Bobby, my other cat, on there just for a minute. Allison. Okay, let me just see if I wrote some stuff down here. Okay. Telescope tracking motors prove that the surface, or the surface that you set the telescope on, is not moving, and the sky is moving, and that's why it has motors, so it can follow the objects in the sky as they move. That's proof of the sky turning, okay? Also, looking up at the sun, and the moon is right up there right now, and the moon is moving, because in a little while it's going to be over there. That's the definition of moving. I could stay right here. I don't have to move. The moon will move over my head. Proof, okay? That's proof. Because I live on Earth. I don't live in the stars. I don't live on the moon. I live on the Earth. So that means that the moon is moving. not me. I'm not moving. So what else do I got? I already talked about earthquakes. What is it about the absolute stationary, motionless state of the ground that we do live on? What is it about that that makes you think that it's moving? Like I was saying, what day did you realize, oh, well, duh, how could I have not seen that before? The earth is spinning. What day was that? Did that ever happen? It never happened to anybody. Okay, water. You know how if you pour water in a bowl, or when you flush the toilet and it all moves around, and it'll be at different heights and different levels, and you go to the ocean and you see these waves, and they're like this, they're moving, the water's moving. And when there's a container and the water has the time to stop moving, to kind of equalize out it and find its equilibrium, what happens to the surface of it? Everybody in the world knows this. Everybody knows this. It becomes perfectly straight and flat. That's proof that water, I'm saying, is proof. That's why we have water in a spirit level. That's why we, in construction, if you're building things, you can line them up with the surface of the ocean if you want something to be level. Just with your eyes. Just line it up. If you're a little too high on this side or low on this side, it's easy to see because you just line it up with the water. Because that is a perfect level. Everywhere. All the time. So if you live in the next town and you're looking at the ocean, and I live in this town and I'm looking at the ocean, we might be looking at different parts of the ocean, but guess what? They all connect up together to be one straight flat line. There's never any water, especially at rest, doing this. Okay? And just the concept of, if you think that, because there's still a lot of people that are not really clear on how they even view these things, because they say that if they look from an airplane that they can see curvature. Think about that. If you can see curvature looking one direction, what happens when you turn? Do you see it again or what? It makes no sense. And what it is it's in your mind you see curvature. Because if you're standing in the middle of the ocean on a boat and you can't see dry land anywhere, and you turn around and you do a circle, what shape is the horizon? It's still a perfectly straight line. And as you turn, there's a distance that you're seeing, and so that line moves along with you. It's not like a hump of water that you're looking over. That's okay. There's no measurable curvature, never has been. Okay, ships going over a curve. There, we got one. Now that one might prove the earth is curved. Water curves. Nah. We gotta think again. We gotta think about if we're... Let me use something here. Okay, I'm gonna use my Bible. Okay, the focus is going to be on my nose, okay? You can see my nose right now. Probably can't hear me very well. Okay, you can see my nose. And when I go like this, you can see how, well, I'm not going to be able to see myself, so I'm guessing that it's covering up my nose now. Oh, I can see myself, I guess, on this other screen. Okay. Now, the people on a globe would say, see, a boat can go like this, and as it's going away, it's going like this, right? It's getting lower and lower. Well, of course, that's how we see perspective. As the boat goes farther away, it gets much smaller too. So the waves that are a mile from you don't get smaller, though. The waves at a mile stay about that size, but the boat, as it's going away, it'll get covered up by those waves even, because we're looking across a flat surface. So if basically, here's what I'm trying to say. If a person's going to say, no, I've seen boats go over the curvature, I know it's curved because of that, which a lot of people say that. Then I would have to say, what happens if you go look at what you're talking about from the side? Do you see a curve? Because if you see a curve, think about it. Again, if you see a curve from the side, where is it when you're looking at the boat going away? Where's the curve? And if a boat that vanishing point, or the place where the sky appears to meet the water, the ocean, that line is about 3 miles from a 6-foot observer. That's just part of nature. That's how we see when we're looking across at something 3 miles away. If we're looking at it again at 4 miles or 5 miles away, the bottom of it is going to start to be not visible to our eyes, and it has to do with the angular. Well, let me see here. Okay, if this is the camera and it's looking down, now what happens as something gets further away and further away and further away? Pretty soon you're almost parallel with what you're looking at, and that creates the opportunity for reflections to happen off of a surface that typically wouldn't have a reflection, but you're at the angle where your eye can't see that small of it can't see any smaller, so it's just going to give you like a reflection of what's beyond it. So if you're saying that a boat goes over the curvature, then you're just not thinking about the left to right. Okay? Because if we see a curve left to right as we look somewhere, what happens when we turn? Do we see it again? So does it go like this and then like this? No, makes no sense. It's just a straight, flat line, just like we observe. And you can take a straight edge and you can hold it on there and you can test it out yourself. So that's one other reason, or one other way to test these things out. Let's see here. Anthony says that word parallel is going over the globalist's head. You know what? Something I just got this is off topic, but something that really keeps ringing in my ears for some reason, and it just is global pandemic or coronavirus all over the globe. And I'm like thinking to myself, I think it's got something to do with that. I really do. I don't know though. That's just a way out there theory that I have. So enough with me talking about how you're not rotating. I'm gonna find. Oh, this is a good video. Let's watch this. Hey guys, going for a swim. You never been swimming before? Water doesn't do this. Ever. That's a fantasy. It's in your imagination. Why do you believe this stuff? Think. Water always lays flat at its surface. Come on, people. Here's the shadow of the eclipse that I filmed. Look at those crisp edges. And that's about 70 miles wide. So I'm here to tell you, with my drone here, the moon can't be any more than 70 miles wide. Right? dragon going into heaven. Giving its power to this beast. And stuff like this happening up in heaven couldn't have anything to do with the sky rolling back like a scroll one day, could it? This is a fairing from a rocket falling back to Earth in a big ball of plasma. Oh, some more footage of that same eclipse during totality. This ain't where you live. I'm shaking my head. This is a cartoon. And the Earth isn't curved like this. Look at the solar array. It's curved too. And the elect are so deceived, they think this is fake. That it's fun and games. And at the same time, they believe that the sky's gonna fall one day. They can't connect these two things together somehow. So I'm shaking my head. And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the 4 winds of the heavens strove upon the great sea. No big deal. Couldn't have anything to do with heaven. It's fake. Must be fake. No big deal. The Bible warns us about it, but no big deal. Oh, he makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceives those who dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. That the dragon gives power to. The beast that the dragon gives power to. Shaking my head. Shaking my head. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought with the dragon and his angels. Come on. Wake up. By the way, that's up in heaven. A dragon. We were warned about this. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Oh, look at that. This is a shot from the space station. That's Dragon coming up to give it its power. I'm shaking my head. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat and great authority. The dragon gave him his power. The dragon.
On behalf of Ripley, Little Earth, myself, and our crew, welcome to the Crew Dragon. Congratulations to all of the teams who made yesterday's launch and today's docking a success. These amazing feats show us not how easy our mission is, but how capable we are of doing hard things.
And build the foundation for an eventual mission to Mars, which is actually going to happen very quickly. And, you know, I've always said that rich guys seem to like rockets. Go ahead. If you beat us to Mars, we'll be very happy, and you'll be even more famous. But they do like, explain that. Where's Eric? They do like rockets for some reason, huh? They like those rockets. But you know what? If as long as it's an American rich person, that's good, okay? As long as it's an American rich person, they can beat us. And we are making our incredible facilities, okay, available to these people that have been doing so incredibly by themselves on rocketry beyond the earth and into those forbidden skies, but they will not be forbidden for long, because we are giving you a platform the likes of which nobody has ever been given before.
And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. And prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And he doeth great wonders, and maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you. Having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time.
future where we are a spacefaring civilization and out there among the stars, this is very exciting. If you can't beat it, join it. Like the purpose of Neuralink is to create a high bandwidth interface to the brain such that we can be symbiotic with AI. I try to convince people to slow down AI, to regulate AI. I met with Congress. I was at a meeting of all 50 governors and talked about just AI danger, and I talked to everyone I could. No one seemed to realize where this was going.
And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time, and times, and the dividing of time.
This was futile. I tried for years. Nobody listened. Maybe they will. So far they haven't. One thing is for sure, we will not control it. The merge scenario with AI is the one that seems like probably the best.
And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads.
I was really going on the warning quite a lot. I was warning everyone I could.
And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven.
Now, if we do have a third layer, which is the AI extension of yourself, it will enable anyone who wants to have superhuman cognition.
And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months.
And if that's the case, then, and let's say billions of people do it,
and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name,
then the outcome for humanity will be the sum of human will, the sum of billions of people's desire for the future. And then people may decide that they want to retain their biological self or not. I think they'll probably choose to retain their biological self. If your biological self dies, you could probably just upload into a new unit. Literally.
This is not where you live. One word proves that, and you already know it. Water. What does water do? Does water get pulled to the surface of Earth by gravity to the center of the Earth? Towards the center of the Earth? No, that isn't what happens. If you have a lake or an ocean or any body of water, it doesn't matter how big the water is, how big the area is, it's flat. And I can prove that because of how water acts. There's a theory, a myth, that's a terrible one at that says that this is what's happening. And that all that water is held into towards the center of that ball. The problem with this is that that's not science at all. It's not even, I wouldn't even call it anything. It's a theory that's garbage. Because if I have a lake that's 20 miles wide, And if I pour somehow a foot of water into this side of the lake, what's this side of the lake going to do? I can tell you what, it's going to go up exactly 6 inches. What I'm saying is, it's all going to be flat, no matter what. You put the water on this side, it's not going to hold to the center, towards the center of the earth where it is. No, it's not. It's going to flow to the lowest point till it finds a place of rest. That's water. So don't talk about Earth being a sphere. It's not possible. Earth from the space station, it says. Okay, let's just pretend that this is just a video or camera image from somewhere looking out of the space station, okay? Is that curved line the surface of this blue thing curving? Or is that just the end of what we're seeing? We've been warned about all these things, all of them, clearly in the Bible, the book of Revelation. And it's unfortunate that people are in denial about this, or that they're in confusion or whatever, but we're living it. Revelation chapter 13, verse 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And that dragon gives its power to the beast that was and is not, the one that came up from the bottomless pit. Revelation 13, verse 2. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear. I don't want to stop in the middle, but did you know that the only way for an astronaut to get to the space station is to take a Russian Soyuz? That's the only way to do it. So it kind of does have the feet of a bear. And his mouth as the mouth of a lion, and the dragon gave him his power, and his seat and great authority. Well, dragon happens to give ISS its power by resupplying it and sending cargo to it on the Falcon 9 rocket. This is not a coincidence. The Falcon 9 rocket. Revelation 13, verse 13. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. This booster, after it delivers Dragon into orbit, the Dragon capsule, this booster returns back to Earth and lands using fire. And it says here in verse 14 that and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. Are you deceived? That's why I want to talk about flat earth. 2015, flat earth kind of made its way onto the scene. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, Hurt not the earth, neither the sea nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. That was Revelation 7. And in Revelation 11, verse 7, And when they have finished their testimony, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them, and kill them. Just to play along, if this beast came up from the bottomless pit, or ascendeth out of the bottomless pit, and killed a certain testimony that people had. Something like flat earth. Because what's happening is this whole world, anyone that lives on a planet, they're worshiping this beast that gets its power from the dragon. And they're worshiping his image. It's right here. It's a false image, a false molten image. In Romans 1, verse 22, it says, professing themselves to be wise, they became fools and changed the glory of the uncorruptible God into an image made like to corruptible man and to birds and four-footed beasts and creeping things. Probably something like this. O thou that dwell upon many waters, abundant in treasures, thine end is come, and the measure of thy covetousness. The Lord of hosts hath sworn by himself, saying, surely I will fill thee with men, as with caterpillars, and they shall lift up a shout against thee. He hath made the earth by his power, he hath established the world by his wisdom, and hath stretched out the heaven by his understanding. When he uttereth his voice, there is a multitude of waters in the heavens, and he causeth the vapors to ascend from the ends of the earth. He maketh lightnings with rain, and bringeth forth the wind out of his treasures. Every man is brutish by his knowledge. Every founder is confounded by the graven image, for his molten image is falsehood, and there is no breath in them. They are vanity, the work of their errors. In the time of their visitation they shall perish. Hi, I'm going to attempt to show you today that interpretation is unnecessary when considering these visions in the Bible that were shown to these two men in particular of the time of the end and what would be at the time of the end. So I'm going to read a couple verses in Revelation 13 that I'm going to ask you some questions about. So listen carefully to what I read here. And before I read it, I want to preface it with the context that this is a vision. And when John says he beheld, that means he saw this. When he says looked, this is a vision, and he saw these things. So chapter 13, verse 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. Verse 2. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, and great authority. And I want to skip to Revelation 13, verse 11. John sees another beast. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. And he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Verse 12. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. Okay, I'm going to give you some information and read some things to you. And then when I'm done, I will ask you a question, and you can answer yes or no. And then we'll move on to the next one. And we'll do that a few times to learn some interesting things. This picture that you're looking at behind me in the background, This is one of the grid fins from Falcon 9 rocket booster. Let me give you a little bit of information. Okay, the rocket has 4 of these on it toward the top of the booster, and when it launches up and it breaks into pieces, and the first or the second stage keeps going, and this one, the bottom part, the main booster, called Falcon 9, returns back to the Earth, and it uses these grid fins to steer itself back to the landing site so that it can land and be reused. Okay, in this animation, we will watch a launch, and then we will watch exactly what happens there. That bottom part that says Falcon 9 on it, that will separate from the Dragon capsule that is on top of it. That little horn at the top, right there, the Dragon capsule. So the point of the rocket launch is to get that little horn all the way up into space, and everything else comes back down. So they have a barge, they have a ship that they send the booster, comes back down and tries to land on the ship. So let's just watch for a second. So what happens now is the booster's going to run out of fuel, and so it'll do a separation like that, and there we have the booster turning itself around, and these grid fins are going to come out and steer it back to its landing barge right there. See them come out, and they steer it down to a safe landing is what we are sold. And there we are. Okay, I want to read you a verse from Daniel chapter 7, verse 7. This is a vision that Daniel had. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. The question I have is this. If you were alive 2,000 years ago or so, and you saw this, would it be sensible that you might call them great iron teeth? Yes or no? Next question is, the rocket you see in the background there, or any rocket really, could it be said, if you lived 2,000 years ago, could it be said that it stamps the residue with the feet of it if it was standing? Yes or no? After the Falcon 9 booster launches the Dragon here up into orbit so that the Dragon can give the ISS, the International Space Station, its power to resupply it and bring cargo to and from. The booster comes back down and lands on the Earth, and I'll show you that here. Okay, behind me here, whoops, try to get out of the way. Does this classify as making fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men? Yes or no? Is it the same thing? We're going to watch until it lands on the earth. Is this making fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men? Yes or no? Next question. Looking at what is in the background behind me, do you see something that has 2 horns and could be said is speaking like a dragon? Yes or no? Could it be said that the dragon gives its power to something else by resupplying it and bringing cargo to and from? Yes or no? Okay, for the next question, I wanted to change gears and go back to Daniel. In Daniel 7, verse 2, Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea, and four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse from one another. So we have to remember, before these next questions, we have to remember that this is a vision, and Daniel says, I beheld, behold, looked, see, saw. He was looking at something and describing it. Now let's see if we can figure out if there's a parallel in our world today. Hint, hint. If there's a parallel in our world today that matches with what Daniel saw concerning these four beasts, because I think there is. Let me read Daniel 7, verse 4. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. I beheld, that means to see, I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. Okay, this is the space shuttle in the background being taken from that stance into vertical to launch. Now, in this verse, it says, and made stand upon the feet as a man. And also it says, and it was lifted up from the earth and made stand upon the feet as a man. Well, that matches, doesn't it? There's something else that matches too. The first was like a lion. I don't know what that means. And had eagle's wings. It had wings. And Daniel watched till the wings thereof were plucked. The shuttle was retired in 2011. And a man's heart was given to it. That could just simply mean men being put in there, like the astronauts. Question is, do these things line up at all? That's just one beast. Do they line up? Yes or no? Next question. Could it be said that that looks visually like a horn? Yes or no? Okay, this is the Russian Soyuz behind me. I'm going to read Daniel 7, verse 5. This is the second beast that Daniel sees. And behold, another beast, a second, like to a bear, and it raised itself up on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it, and they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. Now, the reason why I have this playing in the background is because it says, like to a bear, and it raised itself up on one side, which we just watched. And I will have to show you something else about the 3 ribs in the mouth of it between the teeth of it. This is inside of the Russian Soyuz capsule, which happens to be the only transportation to and from the International Space Station. So, if we think about that, it is very interesting because of one of the verses that I already read. Revelation 13, verse 2. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear. And the way I'm looking at it, the International Space Station kind of has the feet of a bear too, because they kind of have a deadly wound too, because they don't have any way to get an astronaut up to the International Space Station. Now, so they have to buy tickets from Russia since 2011. So if this beast that Daniel saw was something you saw and you lived 2,000 years ago, I'll read that verse again. Could this match? Who knows? And behold, another beast, a second, like to a bear, and it raised itself up on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. So they did tell it to arise, and their ribs. What kind of ribs talk? So my question is, does this match some of the things that Daniel described? It raised itself up on one side, and it had the 3 ribs in it, and they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. Yes or no? There's our scarlet-colored beast. Daniel 7, verse 6. After this I beheld, and lo, another, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. Dominion was given to it. Question: does this match a description that Daniel gave in Daniel 7, verse 6? Yes or no? Last question. Do you like this kind of video? Yes or no?
Because we are the center of creation.
That's right.
We are important.
That's right.
We are here.
We are God's children. It makes me feel better. It makes me feel alive. I feel better about it.
Because
I believe in God. I trust God. That's right. I understand that. I understand they just say what they want people to know. They don't care about the Bible. They don't care about life. They only care about I, me, myself, and I. It's a different world.
So
I pray every night before I go to bed. And one night things weren't happening right. And I sat up in bed and I said, God, where are you? I need you right now. And I'm beginning to wonder, where is God?
God's right above us in the clouds. The heavens are right here. There's just this world.
Oh, it's such a lie. I woke up.
Yes. So knowing this is going to free your heart.
Cry.
Yeah, that's okay.
It makes me cry.
Happiness.
Yes.
Tears of joy.
Yes, yes. I know that we were true, and they're hiding us. It's good.
It's very good.
Yes, yes.
All right.
I'm awake.
Yes.
I'm awake.
All right. Thank you so much.
And it's my pleasure.
All right.
It's my pleasure to know that it's true.
It is absolutely true.
Oh, it's amazing.
Here's
No, I believe it. I believe it.
Yeah.
Oh,
So good, right?
I do.
I'm glad we met.
Crying. I'm so happy.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. It's right. Thank you. I'm amazed. I'm so happy to know it's true.
It's true, and God created this world.
Yes,
and He's right here in the clouds above, close, not in an infinite universe. So good, right?
And I can't get over it. Made me cry.
Made me cry too.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Ruth, give me a hug. Here we go.
I need it.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
was and is not. Even he is the eighth, and is of the seven, and goeth into perdition. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast.
And saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat and great authority.
And think to yourself, there's no place like home. There's no place like home.
There's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like
There's no place like space. There's no place like space. There's no place like space.
Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord.
If you can believe that. If you can believe that.
All right. I think I figured it out. Oh, Timothy. Let me get these monkeys off the screen, these cartoon monkeys. Because we're going to watch a video. I got to do this. All right. I think that should work. And then I believe this is the video. Is this the video? Actually, I can't see the chat. So, it's got to be the right one. I think you just uploaded it today, right? Or does it say premiered? Okay, good. 5 hours ago. Sweet. Okay, so I'm going to go sound, and I'm going to go full screen and start it over. I actually was going to click on this, but didn't get the chance yet. Okay.
Yeah, I just saw this guy when I was doing this observation. Yeah, so I don't mean to bother you, but they're here. I just wanted to give you this information, free information. Okay. The Bible said it all along. I don't know if you're a Bible believer, if you're a Christian or not, but once you see this evidence, you might want to reconsider. So, yeah, here, just in case, here, take another one. Okay. As you see on the inside, there's government documents in there as well. The government has declassified documents. They've just been recently declassified that admit that it's a flat, non-rotating Earth. And flatearth101.com has all the scientific proof on that website. So when you're bored one day, go on flatearth101.com and check out all the scientific proof. And basically what we're finding is water is always level. Water doesn't curve. And water does not conform to the exterior of a shape. Water always must be contained, right? Like you have to put it in a glass or in a pool or in a lake, you know what I mean? It's got to be contained. So we're finding that water is always level. And if the Earth is 70% water, then there's, how are these straight oceans wrapping around this ball? They're not. And if I could see Keys from 12 miles away with my tripod in the water, 1 foot above the water, sea level. That's pretty much a done deal right there. And it's important because they're hiding God, the validity of the Bible, and the fact that Jesus is our only Savior and our only hope. So these people that run the world, they work for Satan. They're minions for Satan. The earth is flat! So, and I can also see Anclote power plant from, well, you can see it with your own eyes there too, but that's also 12 or 15 miles away. So yeah, I know it sounds crazy, and what does it matter? But it does matter because we're in the end times, and this whole reason why they're lying about the shape of the earth is gonna come into play with whatever lies or whatever they're planning next. So, and also it'll just lead you back to the Lord, the one who created you. And this wasn't an accident that you just happened to be sitting here right when I was doing this test. I think God wanted to get your attention, I think, a little bit, and just remind you that He's there. He's always been there. He's right above our heads. Like, you open your eye, you're looking right up at God right now. God is literally right above the firmament. So I just encourage you to take a look at the Bible, flatearth101.com. Those brochures have some good stuff on there too. It's in the Bible. They're hiding God. And Satan is the lowercase g god of this world, and they all serve them, all the governments and the elites and all that. So this truth matters, that the earth is really flat and not rotating, because it proves that the Bible was right all along, not mainstream science. See, mainstream science just doesn't want to be accountable to a creator. So they'll create any theory or any explanation to do away with God. But our own senses and our own logical, common sense thinking tells us that the earth is flat, created by God. And if the Bible said it all along over 2,000 years ago, why wouldn't we trust that? You know what I mean? So, I know it's a really,
I don't wish to discuss it.
Yeah. That's cognitive dissonance you're experiencing from, everything you thought was true. It's a lie. So I'll just leave it at that. Take a look at the evidence whenever you get a chance. God loves you. Jesus loves you. There is a purpose to this life. Don't forget that. This might be your one or last. I don't know. Hope not. Hope you get many more chances. But God's trying to get your attention. Believe in Jesus Christ as your personal Savior. Before you go to bed tonight, hit your pillow. Pray to God. Ask Him to reveal the truth to you. And I guarantee He will. God bless you, sir. Jesus is the only way. Don't forget that. Never forget that. God bless you. What can we do, guys? Just gotta tell them, and then it's up to them. Holy Spirit will water the seed, hopefully. So, alright. Well, that beautiful flat horizon. And that man who now knows the truth. It's up to him if he wants to accept it or not. So. Just hope he's not doing yoga. Look at him, not a care in the world. I just told him the truth, and he doesn't even care. Guys, pray for this man. Pray for him that he finds or comes to believe in the truth before it's too late. Right, Kirby? Alright, see you guys later.
That was a great video, Timothy. I don't know if Tim is what you go by, but I can't remember. Yeah, that when you said Oh, I just seen Major Ola. I got my other computer going now. Let's see here. We're gonna go to Major Ola's channel. Whoops, I'm not gonna do that. Let's see. Because do I go to your other channel or? Oh, I suppose I can click the link. Okay, here we go. Once my chat catches up. Thank you, Timothy. My chat's just catching up here, which I'm sure you can actually see it. Okay, let's go here. And here we go. I was just gonna kill the sound for a minute. Hopefully you're not gonna talk right when I kill it. I was just gonna explain. There's a video, your other video, I think, and you had this. This is just a mirror. I think you said it was like a 5 times magnification mirror or something. And so I wonder if you're talking. I'll go back to it here. Yeah, that's pretty wild. Look at that. It almost looks like the smoke behind a rocket. That's what it looks like right there. That's crazy. You should mess around with that with a really bright light at night. Because you could probably see it a lot better. But that is cool. Very cool, Major Ola. I know I was thinking about the song copyright thing, but it doesn't really matter. All they do is they block the video. Actually, I'll just turn it off. They'll block the video and you can erase it out of the video, and you'll lose the chat if you do that. If you edit your video, you lose the chat or the chat replay. So that's the only kind of negative thing about that. But I've had a lot of videos blocked lately. At least YouTube sends an email. Yeah, that's pretty wild. Okay, so we're gonna go. Oh, that's the mirror. Cool. I bet you there's talking right now. Let's see. Maybe not. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Let me go here. And you know what I was almost thinking? Okay, so the thing that I typed up earlier, or not earlier, just for the last few days, I've been kind of typing a few different things. So it's like it's in my mind. I'm not like I'm gonna forget what I was kind of collecting information out of my brain. Oh, there's Cupcake. the earth, the way that creation, like the story of the 6-day creation, there's a lot in that story that even the flat earthers seem to overlook, just like we kind of overlooked the whole story for our whole lives. I'm not trying to put anyone down or anything. I'm just saying there's so much and such clarity in that 6-day creation. And it almost seems like every time I look at it, there's something major that sticks out at me that I didn't see before, didn't understand, or it might be when I read another scripture, like God Rules, that channel, God Rules, it's all one word. That's his name's Tony, and he does a lot of like article reporting and stuff, and he finds some good stuff and shares it. But he also studies the scriptures and the Apocrypha and stuff, and he makes a lot of good points. Majorola, it will. You wouldn't believe what YouTube's whatever they have, grabbing that stuff. It picks up anything. If you have 3 seconds of a song, it'll pick it up. And even if it's playing in the background, you can't hear it. It's actually quite insane that they can identify so quickly any sound that's music, But it depends on what it is. What you might get, most likely what you'll get is you'll just get next to your video, it'll say that there's a copyright claim, but it doesn't affect anything. I think if you're monetizing, I'm not the guy to ask, because I don't do that. I'm guessing that it would be demonetized if that was the case. But I'm guessing you're not monetizing too, because your channel's, if I remember right, is that a newer channel, or was it just a different channel? I can't remember. But let's see here. I'm just showing you my boring screen, aren't I? Hold on. Let's go to video, and then I'll pause it quick. Yeah. So I want to go on my dry erase board, like just a chalkboard thing, like a lot of people do when they're trying to explain something. And I want to draw it out in a way that the reality way, the way it really is in reality. And what I mean is, there is an actual Earth that we live on, and Woketown, Matt Long put out a video. It was from the Flat Earth International Conference, the last one. I forget where it was, Dallas, I think, if I remember right. But and he was talking. It was just kind of a short little interview thing or something, and he was talking about how he made a very good point that, hey, Flat Earth millionaires in here, how you doing? Good to see you. I don't know if you saw, I got to bring this up and stop what I'm saying because I don't see it too often. He says, who's coming to the Flat Earth 2020 Vision Expo this year on Labor Day weekend? Ooh, and where is that again? I saw something about that, but I didn't click on it or whatever, didn't look into it. But yeah, that Simon Dan thing, his little "you owe me $200,000" video, that was insane. Okay, it's in the Dallas area. That was insane. The one thing he said, like, he busted himself really bad when he took the picture of from the beach of the horizon or whatever on the ocean, and he compressed it, and he said, "Oh, look, curve." Does he realize what he's saying there? He's saying that if you take a straight edge, that it won't line up with the water's edge, or with the vanishing point, which is ridiculous because it does. So anyway, but this creation that we live in is a real place. It's tangible and it's surrounding us. Yeah, that was pathetic, wasn't it? Flat Earth Millionaire. Yeah, yeah, he's a kook. Simon Dan, not Flat Earth Millionaire. Simon Dan. Is that? I'm guessing that your offer's still up. If it is, I gotta say, no one's taking you up on it, huh? Because if anybody was gonna, you'd think maybe Simon Dan would, but he made a little comedy video. Like that was all comedy. Like how he's saying, I'm just remembering this right now, and it's kind of making me laugh. How he's saying oh yeah, Anthony, if you're on his channel, put a link in the chat if you can. He shows that bridge. I forget where it was or whatever, but it's kind of a famous video or whatever. And he shows the water's curving down. It like he's trying to make it look like the water, or make it sound like the water's curving down. But what's it curving down into? Like everything behind it is still there. It makes no sense. Like, oh yeah, there's a curve on that water, but you can see the restaurant on the other side of that curve though. Do you know what I'm saying? It makes no sense. No one can touch it. No one's touched it yet. And that's the thing is, I know you're serious. And I think it's hilarious that people haven't really, I mean, that should be something that's on every evening news channel when you put it out. They should be like, hey, somebody's offering big bucks for simple proof. But no one can do it. Yeah, it curves down way below the trees. Isn't that weird? Makes no sense. It's like when you look across a lake. I live by Mille Lacs, and maybe I can show a video of this really quick. I live by this lake, and at the two farthest points that I think are on the lake, it's like 19.8 miles or something like that. It's basically 20 miles. And it's from Garrison, Minnesota to Isle, like Isle, Isle, Minnesota. And there's another observation too that I make. And actually I was going to play that video. I'll play it right now in the background. But I'm going to grab another one too while I'm here. Hold on. This is a laid-back live stream. I'm not trying to rush or anything. Usually, I'm always feels like I'm in a hurry when I do a live stream. Okay, where is this? I don't know if this is it. That's 2 minutes. Sorry, guys. Hold on a minute. Well, here's a terrible video of it. I'll put that in there. But okay, so this is looking across that lake when it's frozen, and I'm just gonna click it, and there's some music, so I'm just gonna turn it down a little bit. Okay, looking across Mille Lacs Lake in Minnesota, this house, that little rambler there or whatever, that's 9.5 miles. There's that truck is obviously pretty large in comparison. It's not proportional to the size of the house, so it's much closer to us. And then we got these trees that are kind of right in front of the house there. There they are. So where's this curve? Oh, there's curvature, but then you see everything behind it. Makes no sense. So my camera's 25 feet above the water, 9.5 miles. There should be I think I do a curve calculator thing here, I think. there's someone delivering the mail. See how small that vehicle is compared to that truck that we saw? That's because the car was 9.5 miles away. The truck was probably 6 miles away. But it's all on a flat surface, so they all kind of look like they're real close to the same height. Let me just go back here. Okay, see these trees? This red line is my line of sight. So we would be off to the right across the lake. And then to the left on the red line is the house. And it's not very high off of the water. But here we can clearly see it though. There we go. Now see this truck? I'm zooming in a little bit. It'll get grainy, but you'll be able to see it. See, the truck is huge compared to the car. Whoops. See the car, how small it is compared to the house? And that's right on the road. So you can see where the road is. And then you can see what looks to be 5 feet, I don't know, where those trees are growing out of that bank. And then you see the water surface. And then this stuff that's kind of on the lake, that's ice that's bunched up and kind of sticking up. There's shards of ice that I don't know how they get all over the lake, but they pile, like the lake is frozen in 2 parts and kind of maybe bumps together, and it's still slushy, and it pushes it up. It pushes it way up in the air sometimes. It's actually kind of cool. So this same lake it can be up to 20 miles across. And I'm going to just see if I can grab a video. Just looking across the lake is... Okay, frozen... Okay, this is an 8-minute video. No, that's not the right video then. Sorry, guys. I'm finding it. There's one that... When you look across... Oh, it's going to be in this folder. I was looking in the wrong folder. In Flat Earth Proofs. Okay. Where is P1000 or... Oh, here. This one will give you a good idea of what it looks like when you go to the lake. And my camera's in the same spot as this video we just watched. But this I'm just going to be kind of scanning the lake with my P900. And you're going to see how many fish... First of all, how many fish... It's like a huge ice fishing lake, and you'll see that. Let's watch this. I'm going to kill the music a little bit again. This isn't the whole video either. There's so many more fish houses than are in this video. But there is something interesting that I better show right there. Sorry. Gotta pause it. Go back. See, this is up on the screen here with all the windows, that building. That is about 12 miles away from the camera. And it's on the other side of the lake in, what's that little town? It's Grand Casino, Mille Lacs. But, so this is a Grand Casino building. And as I scroll to the left, you're going to see something that it's also 12 miles away. Look down. Oops, I got to go a little further till we get it center screen. And then we'll just scroll up a little bit. Do you guys see something on the shore there? Do you guys see this? What is this? Is that a house on the opposite shore? It surely is. 12 miles away. Camera's 25 feet in the air, or above the water. There should be a horizon at 6 miles. So we're seeing 6 miles past the horizon to the house on the other side of the lake. Okay. Because there's no curve on the water, that's why. Frozen water either. So I'll let it keep playing though. So that's some good footage right there. There's the casino. It's kind of up on a hill. I went back to it. I guess I must have spotted it with the camera. There's a water tower. So that's about 12 miles. And then as we go to the right, it gets more and more miles. And the other water tower, or that radio tower right there, that's 15 miles from the camera. 15 miles from the camera. See how the trees right there? Like that's what Simon Dan was saying, that like the curve bridge went down into the like that line that's there. Makes no sense. If that was curvature, then where's the rest of the curvature? It's like supposed to keep curving. It doesn't go back up again if it's a sphere. Oh, my cat's over here wanting some attention. Hey, buddy. I'm gonna let it keep playing. But yeah, look at the trees. Those trees are 15 miles or 14 miles from the camera. They shouldn't be able to be seen at all. And even up to 20 miles, you'll see what happens as I look farther. That tree line is going to get shorter and shorter because it's getting farther and farther away as I look to the right. Oh, there's the other water tower. That's about 14 miles away, I think. And that water tower is only a quarter mile away from the shore. So all those trees between the water tower and the shore. Whoops, that was... So we're repeating ourselves now. Let me go back to that. Okay. So that spherical water tower right there is only a quarter mile away from the shore. I'm trying to get it where we can see the shore. Okay. This is a problem if you're thinking you're on a globe. Do you guys see that? That water tower is a quarter mile away from the shore. So there's definitely trees that are from the shore and to the water tower. So for a quarter mile of trees, away from us and towards the water tower, between the water tower and the water. That means, how tall are those trees? 35 feet, 50 feet, whatever. And we're seeing how much of them? 35 or 50 feet. Get what I'm saying? There's nothing hidden. There is nothing hidden. So that was that. Here's Pastor Lawson. So nope, I'm gonna back. Here's Pastor Lawson.
If you lose the horizon, let's say at 12 miles, whatever you could see at 10 miles by 12, it's going under. You can't see it. Okay? How could you see Chicago, Illinois 40 miles away?
Yeah, how?
Think about how in the Dark Ages, they thought that the world was flat.
How about some Daniel Pratt? Let's listen to him.
There is no logic to it. There's no way we can be with billions of people thinking they're clung to a ball spinning at ridiculous speeds, upside down, inside out, and every other direction. It is absurd to those of us with eyes to see and ears to hear. Just as what we believe is absurd to those clinging to that ball spinning, whirling, twirling, dizzy, upside down, and so confused they literally don't know which end is up. Literally, they think there is no up and down. This is exactly how we were told it would be. If the Bible is lies, why did it clearly point this out to us? Again, Matthew 10:34 through 36. Think not that I come to bring peace on earth, but a sword. Your own family will turn against you, will be your foe. People that are still denying Jesus, denying the Bible, If you think you fully got your mind wrapped around God and what he does and his wisdom, hello, you're trying to be God. I just need to do what he guides me to do. Even though I'm blunt, it's what I need to be saying. I'm not perfect in my delivery, but I'm also not the one coming up with the message to deliver. As I read in the Bible again, it says, don't think about what you're going to say. God will say it through you. God will use me as his tool to reveal the truth. That those that can't comprehend the flat earth because they don't have the eyes to see and the ears to hear, yet many of them will, absolutely, when his time comes, when he reveals it to them, because it's God's plan. It's his playbook. Then flat earth came along. Okay, now we're starting to make some sense. And especially as I started to talk about it and saw the supernatural spell and delusion that people are under. The overwhelming majority do not have the eyes to see and ears to hear. All they can hear is Lucifer's lies. For now. Those that do have the eyes and ears will continue to warn, will continue to be used as God's tools until enough awaken and his will be done. It has to go this way. Your friends, your family, the majority of people, pretty much everybody you know will turn against you. And the more they do, the more you must strengthen your resolve rather than let them weaken it. It's not a insult. It's not anything other than that's what God's telling you through me and others. With my heart and soul, everything I tell you, I believe is absolute truth. And I believe the message comes from the Almighty Yahweh. He is speaking to you through us tools, us nobodies, us servants of him. We are simply the voice boxes he is speaking through. This doesn't mean we're special. It doesn't mean we're anything but just tools. Like a screwdriver, like a hammer. He just loves us just like he loves you. Otherwise, he wouldn't demand we share the message. He wouldn't compel us to come out here and be belittled and berated and insulted and threatened and ridiculed and everything else that comes along with it. Persecuted. If you are being persecuted, you are on the right path. God bless you for it. Pray for strength. Pray for the full armor of God, because we're going to need it.
Oh. Earth. Yep. Book. Oh. Nope. Yep. Stars. Yep. Oh. Earth. Yep. Earth. Yep. Book. Oh. Nope. Oh. Nope. Moon. Yep. Moon. Oh. Earth. Yep. Earth. Oh. Nope.
Yep. Flat. Yep.
Sweeping the clouds away.
Station, this is your president. Do you hear me?
Hello, I'm Sunny Williams. I'm on a flat plane, so you have to have pretty good aim, and you be ready to make sure things get let go the right direction. On a flat plane, and it smells a little bit, so I'm closing it up. And that's, of course, for number 2. On a flat plane, we have gloves just because sometimes it does get messy. And then if things get really out of control, we have disinfectant wipes just to make sure we clean up here. Because, you know, just like the water on a flat plane, I showed you the number 1 stuff can sort of go all over the place if you don't aim correctly. And did I mention both of these have a little bit of suction, so they should keep things going in the right direction. But like I said, sometimes things get a little out of control if you are out of control yourself flying around. On a flat plane.
Do you hear me? Together we are
on a flat plane
all across America.
Water is such a precious resource
on a flat plane
that we also are cleaning up our urine and making it drinkable. Drinkable.
Better you than me. Better you than me.
Oh, sir, it was awesome.
Drinkable. Drinkable.
The next day I install and experiment in drugs and how we can make those drugs.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event. Thank you.
Worshipped the beast, saying,
Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him?
With your naked eye. I've seen it. You know, you look up and people are looking at it, and they got their binoculars and they're looking at it, and you know, it's a little light dot and it's moving. No.
Elon Musk is the card. But Elon Musk is sending up huge rockets into space, right? He's sending these rockets up. Do you know what he plans to do next? He's going to put people on them and send them up to the moon. The people that have the money, they're going to go up to the moon. What are they going to do? They're going to look out the windows and photograph the earth. Think of all these people that are going to be going up. And this is a few years, it's not long in the future. And they're going to be photographing this round, blue, beautiful planet out here in space. Thousands of photographs and videos from the space station as it moved in the heavens above the earth. It such a magnificent sight, it took his breath away. Right now you can log on to the internet if you want to, and you can go to the International Space Station, the ISS, and you can get a live feed from that space station. Right now you can watch it as it moves across the face of the earth. When they are in possession of that enormous amount of material and proves that this earth is a globe. Do you know what they think about us?
This was just over 100 years ago. And before that, humans flying was only a fairy tale, only an idea, only something that people dreamed of or thought of, but were not able to do. And this is kind of the time that it began to be possible. Fast forward 112 years or so, and we have really changed. I mean, our world entirely has changed, and a big part of that is because of what these Wright brothers started, and that developed into everything we have today and everything we do and accomplish in this world. So we could almost say we've gone from the Wright brothers to Elon Musk and SpaceX or NASA. And people always want to keep going higher and higher above the earth. Well, I'm here for one reason, and that is to warn you. Yes, you, the person who is listening to this right now. I want to warn you because the prophets warned us. And I've been able to understand what they were warning about. And I want you to understand it as well. And I want you to understand that it is not anything that I'm putting forth. This is something that the prophets wrote about. And they were very clear about what they wrote. And it's just in a language where, like, the idea of a propeller didn't exist. The idea of a rocket engine didn't exist. So these prophets were left to describe these things with the language that they had in the time that they lived, which was a long time ago. But let's listen to some of these prophets talking about some of the things that would be coming on this earth at the end and giving us warning about. Why would the prophets warn us about rockets or airplanes or flying? Because look at what it's done for our world. It's totally changed our world. Just in 100 years. So why would the prophets be warning us about these things? Well, here's the basic reason why. Because the prophets knew something that we didn't know, and we are just learning now. And that was that the place that they want to go is heaven. And they're trying to climb up their own way. And there's really only one way, and that is the Son of God. Enoch saw these rockets, and maybe the space shuttle. But let's listen to what he says.
And in those days the angels will gather together, and will throw themselves towards the east. Upon the Parthians and Medes they will stir up the kings, so that a disturbing spirit will come upon them, and they will drive them from their thrones. And they will come out like lions from their lairs, and like hungry wolves in the middle of their flocks. And they will go up and trample on the land of my chosen ones. And the land of my chosen ones will become before them a tramping ground and a beaten track. And in those days Sheol will open its mouth, and they will sink into it and their destruction. Sheol will swallow up the sinners in front of the faces of the chosen. And it came to pass after this, that I saw another host of chariots with men riding on them. And they came upon the wind from the east and from the west. And it came to pass after this, that I saw another host of chariots with men riding on them. And they came upon the wind from the east and from the west to the south.
12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, start, 2, 1, booster ignition, and liftoff of the Space Shuttle Discovery, returning to the space station, paving the way for future missions beyond.
And the sound of the noise of their chariots was heard. And when this occurred, the holy ones observed it from heaven, and the pillars of the earth were shaken from their foundations, and the sound was heard from the ends of the earth to the ends of heaven throughout the day. And all will fall down and worship the Lord of spirits. And this is the end of the second parable. In the 50th year, in the 7th month, on the 14th day of the month of the life of Enoch, in that parable I saw how the heaven of heavens was shaken violently, and the host of the Most High and the angels, 1,000 thousands and 10,000 times 10,000, were extremely disturbed. And then I saw the head of days sitting on the throne of his glory, and the angels and righteous were sitting around him. And a great trembling seized me, and fear took hold of me, and my loins collapsed and gave way, and my whole being melted, and I fell upon my face. And the holy Michael sent another holy angel, one of the holy angels, and he raised me. And when he raised me, my spirit returned, for I had been unable to endure the sight of that host, and the disturbance, and the shaking of heaven, shaking of heaven. And the holy Michael said to me, What sight has disturbed you like this? Until today has the day of his mercy lasted, and he has been merciful and long-suffering towards those who dwell upon the dry ground. And they will go up and trample on the land of my chosen ones, and the land of my chosen ones will become before them a tramping ground and a beaten track, tramping ground and a beaten track. But the city of my righteous ones will be a hindrance to their horses.
All right, I had to pause it here because I don't know how to make it clear in a video editing without just coming out and just explaining it. What he's saying right now, what Enoch is saying, I'm going to go back a little bit. Okay, he's talking about the land of God's elect ones, or that was my cat sneezing. The land of God's elect ones, and I can't remember the other way he put it. Something with holy in it. Or no, the city of his righteous ones, or his holy ones. Something like that. Two different ways he's referring to New Jerusalem, which is up in heaven. Iger Television lost your channel, huh? That's a bummer. That is a bummer. Hopefully, you know what? I had my channel deleted once, less than a year ago, and I got it back. And it only took a couple days or something. So, who knows? Hopefully you get it back. But you got a wrench. If that makes you feel any better. No, okay, so what Enoch is saying that, and I'll play it in a second, but I just want to explain it. He's saying that New Jerusalem, the land of his elect ones, that's New Jerusalem, will be a hindrance to these kings, to their horses. And if you just apply that to reality in what I believe it's, okay, the promised land, in Revelation, what is it, in 20? Revelation 20? John sees New Jerusalem coming down out of heaven from God. Didn't flat earth come down out of heaven from God? I say it did. In my life it did. So just think about that. Flat earth, okay, the kingdom, what is it? The kingdom of heaven is not something, or the kingdom of God, it's not something that, it's not like it's not built with hands. It's different, and I can't explain what it is, but welcome, Robert, Angel Guide, good to see you. Multiple parts of America that will sink, who knows? But listen to what he says about, basically he's explaining what's happening in the world today. This is another topic that I really want to go into detail about, because every day, like, things are being fulfilled in a way that people aren't seeing, and it's this really complex story. And so what I'm saying is, in reality, I believe New Jerusalem's up in heaven, up in the sky. And when they are putting space stations and rockets up in that darkness, that they're not going where they think they're going. Exactly. Major Ola just said it the exact way. It's a spiritual place. And then Davey 313 is having a hard time. Pray for Davey 313. You do have strength left. Let me read you a verse here. This is one that always gets me when I feel that way, because a lot of times it gets really tiring to do, like, to over and over and over again have these conversations with people, and a lot of the time it's just you don't feel good after those conversations where you where basically people are just laughing at you, or there's a bunch of different scenarios, but one of them that I find difficult is when I'm talking to people about these things and they just don't take it seriously. That just makes me, like, wish that I could get through to them a little bit better. And it's hard. I think that's what makes it tiring, is to know what the truth is, and to watch people not believe it. That's very tiring. But David 313, this is a verse that I like, or a couple verses. It's Isaiah 42, verses 6 through 7. I, the Lord, have called thee in righteousness, and will hold thine hand, and will keep thee. I'll read that part again because I like that. I, the Lord, have called thee in righteousness, and will hold thine hand, and will keep thee, and give thee for a covenant of the people, for a light of the Gentiles, to open the blind eyes, to bring out the prisoners from the prison, and them that sit in darkness out of the prison house. I got to read a couple more verses because I think that it's important that we all get reminded what we're doing, why we see the truth, because a lot of us don't know. Okay, let me explain. There is a difference that happened in a lot of people's lives in the last 5 years, and probably the best way I could describe it is a change that happened not of those people. It wasn't those people that caused the change in their own lives. It was Jesus. It was the Holy Spirit. And even a lot of those people that maybe don't know that, they have a question. They say, why do I see this truth, yet my family doesn't, my girlfriend doesn't, or my whoever? Most of the people around don't understand why we're saying this, and they don't see it. Now, just from my point of view, I happen to see it like everywhere I look. And I think it's probably the same for a lot of people. We can see through lies in a way that we couldn't before. And so that also is tiring. to watch people just diving into lies and basking in them and swimming around. And like in Timothy's video, when he said that guy doesn't have a care in it, or a care in the world. And that's tiring, isn't it, Timothy? Just to see a person like that. They're not a bad person, but they're involved in something that we're learning is wicked. But no one is trying to do anything wicked. No one is. It's a trick. It's from Satan. That's the problem. Is there's a lot of Christians even that feel secure in their unbelief of the scriptures. Like when we're talking about waters above and like I like Kent Hovind. I'm not ripping on him. I'm just using him for an example. Kent Hovind is always like, "Where's my globe? I'll show you flat earthers," But he doesn't understand that we're studying the Word. Same book he's got. That's what I didn't finish saying about Matt Long. We all have the same evidence, whether we're on a globe or a flat earth or whatever you believe you're living on. We all have the exact same proof and evidence. It's how we interpret it. So, I mean, if I say spiritual warfare, that should be enough, hopefully. But back to, I think it's important that we remind each other and we remind ourselves as often as we think of it, or as often as we think of it, that we're doing something, that we, I'm trying to think of where I should go. I have Isaiah 49 open for a reason, but there's, let me see here, verse 10 in Isaiah 49. They shall not hunger nor thirst, neither shall the heat nor sun smite them. For he that hath mercy on them shall lead them, even by the springs of the water he shall guide them. And I will make all my mountains a way, and my highways shall be exalted. Behold, these shall come from far, and lo, these from the north and from the west, and these from the land of Sinim. Sing, O heavens, and be joyful, O earth, and break forth into singing, O mountains, for the Lord hath comforted his people, and will have mercy upon his afflicted. But Zion said, The Lord hath forsaken me, and my Lord hath forgotten me. Can a woman forget her sucking child, that she should not have compassion on the son of her womb? Yea, they may forget, yet will I not forget thee. Behold, I have graven thee upon the palms of my hands. Thy walls are continually before me. Thy children shall make haste, thy destroyers, and they that made thee waste shall go forth of thee. Lift up thine eyes round about, and behold, all these gather themselves together and come to thee. As I live, saith the Lord, thou shalt surely clothe thee with them all, as with an ornament, and bind them on thee as a bride doeth. For thy waste and thy desolate places, and the land of thy destruction, shall even now be too narrow by reason of inhabitants, and they that swallowed thee up shall be far away. I could keep reading, but I wanted to... The foundation of the world. That's a little phrase, or whatever you want to call it, that has a lot of meaning to it. I'm going into the Gospels here, because where is it? Oh, this is good stuff right here. In the book of Mark. Chapter 8, verse... I guess it's verse 34 I want to start in. And when he had called the people unto him with his disciples also, he said unto them, Whosoever will come after, this is Jesus, whosoever will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, but whosoever shall lose his life for my sake and the gospel's the same shall save it. For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? Whosoever therefore shall be ashamed of me and my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, of him also shall the Son of Man be ashamed, when he cometh in the glory of his Father with the holy angels. That's heavy stuff if you really think about it. Okay. Let me read a few verses in Mark chapter 13. I'll start in verse 9. But take heed to yourselves, for they shall deliver you up to councils, and in the synagogues ye shall be beaten, and ye shall be brought before rulers and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them. So that's something that, if you think about what Jesus is telling his disciples, he's saying that you have to, oh, my cat is having a problem over there. Hold on a minute. I think my cat is puking over there. Sorry, guys. Okay. He said that ye shall be brought before rulers and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them. And he's talking about being beaten in the synagogues. So what is he talking about? Because you can go to any synagogue and say Jesus is Lord and he's the King of Kings, and you can be in agreement with them about that. What is it that what testimony do you guys have that is being used against these synagogues? That's the gospel. The world hates it, okay? Let me keep reading here. And the gospel must first be published among all nations. But when they shall lead you and deliver you up, take no thought beforehand what ye shall speak, neither do ye premeditate, but whatsoever shall be given to you in that hour, that speak ye, for it is not ye that speak, but the Holy Ghost. Daniel Pratt just said that in one of the videos we just watched. He was saying it's not, that's exactly what Daniel was saying. But now the brother shall betray the brother to death, and the father the son, and the children shall rise up against their parents, and shall cause them to be put to death. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. So hang in there, Davy. Well, I'm reading your comments here, Davy. Just keep the scriptures going in the background all the time. And I think I know I think I know kind of where you're at. Usually it's just one of those days where you're having a harder time with it. I can understand that. Just try to remember how, well, you just made me think of a couple verses. Zechariah 13, verse 9. And I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, the Lord is my God. Being tried in the fire, it is also, makes it hard sometimes. And then sometimes, for me, sometimes when I'm having like a slower day, I'll call it a heavier day or something. It seems to me that a lot of times that happens when I'm learning something, and I'm hating what I'm learning. Do you know? And I shouldn't say hating, but I'm going to try to think of an example. Well, I got a great example. People, I think it can be. I think if I come out and say certain things a certain way, people get offended by it. But if I say the same exact thing with choosing my words more wisely, people don't get offended by it. Or they do, but they don't as much. But there's a little problem with that too, because if I'd said that if a person doesn't believe the truth, and I'm specifically talking about the truth that I'm always talking about, flat earth, and when I'm saying that, I'm saying biblical cosmology, waters above and a firmament, and earth beneath heaven, not around, not heaven's not around the earth, it's above it. But these simple things, the earth doesn't move, okay, these kinds of things, they're simple things, but then people have like an intellectual problem with saying these things. Let's see here. Sorry, I got to do something really quick. If I got two computers going, here's my problem. I don't want to. I want to play the rest of this Enoch and what he's saying about New Jerusalem, because this is part of this battle or this war that we're fighting, and a lot of people are maybe not even sure exactly what we're fighting, but they're still doing what they're supposed to do. So let's listen to Enoch for a minute here.
Towards those who dwell upon the dry ground, and they will go up and trample on the land of my chosen ones.
Okay, he's talking about, I better go back just a little bit. I'm going to go back even a little bit. Okay. Right there. Okay, I'm going to start it right here. There's something to learn here, and what I'm trying to get at is that flat earth isn't the earth. It is a place that it's land, but it's not like the same kind of land that we're all probably thinking when I say land. Flat earth came down from heaven, out of heaven, from God. And that's in the scriptures, guys. I'm going to go to just really quickly to what I'm saying is exactly kind of what Timothy was saying earlier. Does anybody realize what's happening? How are we even experiencing this, and we're even talking about it, and we know it's happening? It's crazy if you think about it. And people are even like big time in denial of these things. I might play a video of Adam Fink talking about on his Friday night, talking about New Jerusalem and this very battle that I'm speaking of right now, because he says some things that are interesting and worth a listen, and it might be a way that I can even point out like how some of us are looking at this in a different way than others of us. And I think it's just something that it's slowly being revealed to us. Just like flat earth. Who started flat earth? No one started flat earth. There's people all over the world that started seeing it, So, where is this here? Oh, I guess it was Revelation 21. Or no, wait, I want to go to Revelation 2 or 3. I want to read that one and that part instead. Where is it? Right here. 3 verse 12. Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my God. I'm going to break this verse down because I think it's important. So if the people that overcome, he's going to make them a pillar in the temple of my God. That's New Jerusalem, right? And that's up in heaven. Right now it is anyway. Because he prepared a place. Or he's going to prepare a place. Okay, so listen. Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my God, and he shall go no more out. And I will write upon him the name of my God, and the name of the city of my God, which is New Jerusalem, which cometh down out of heaven from my God. And I will write upon him my new name. So, let's mix that along with John 16, verses 13, 14, and 15. Howbeit, this is Jesus, howbeit when he, the Spirit of truth, is come, he will guide you into all truth, for he shall not speak of himself, but whatsoever he shall hear, that shall he speak. And he will show you things to come. He shall glorify me, for he shall receive of mine, and shall show it unto you. All things that the Father hath are mine. Therefore said I, that he shall take of mine, and shall show it unto you. That's 3 times that Jesus just said he was going to show it to us, and show us things to come. So, Anthony, if you're heading out, thank you for stopping by, and it was good to see you. Okay, and then remember what Jesus said when he was praying in John 17, verse 20. Because he said he was going to send, he said, as my Father sent me into the world, so have I sent these into the world. And then he says, and in verse 19 he says, in verse 20, he says, neither pray I for these alone, but for them also which shall believe on me through their word. And in John 15, verse 27, or 26 and 27, this is Jesus too, but when the Comforter is come, whom I will send unto you from the Father, even the Spirit of truth, which proceedeth from the Father, he shall testify of me. And ye also shall bear witness, because ye have been with me from the beginning. I don't know if you guys can tell where I'm going with this. There's a group of people, I'm just going to be blunt and tell you my beliefs. There's a group of people in this world that, not of their doing, but of the Holy Spirit's doing, they were made into witnesses. They were made to bear witness to something. And the reason why it's so important is because this is the grace of God. Because we were born into a world filled with iniquity and wickedness because of what we do. And it's normal in this world for us to launch rockets, obviously. It's normal for us to fly in the sky on jets. It's normal for us to do a lot of things that should not be normal. Like commercial airlines. There's nothing that seems bad about that, right? But anybody can look up in the sky and see what it's doing to the sky. There's an end to this story. And it has to do with the sky. The end of the story does. So, and it has to do people don't like it when I say it, but it has to do with rockets. Rockets. They're going to make the stars fall down, you guys. Okay, let's listen to Enoch. Sorry, I keep going. On and on.
The holy angel, one of the holy angels, and he raised me. And when he raised me, my spirit returned, for I had been unable to endure the sight of that host, and the disturbance, and the shaking of heaven, shaking of heaven. And the holy Michael said to me, what sight has disturbed you like this? Until today has the day of his mercy lasted, and he has been merciful and long-suffering towards those who dwell upon the dry ground. And they will go up and trample on the land of my chosen ones.
So I just got to point out right there, nobody in their right mind thinks that the land of his elect ones is anywhere on the earth. The land of his elect ones is in heaven. It's New Jerusalem. So that just said they will go up. This is talking about the horses of the, I don't even know exactly which way it's worded, the kings and their horses. It says that they will rouse them from their thrones. Okay? Sorry, I keep pausing it, but I have to point this out. It's so important. Because this can tell a person that sees the truth and they have this witness testimony to share. It's not always fun to share, but they have this testimony to share, and they might not understand why they have this testimony. This explains it. So here we go.
And the land of my chosen ones will become before them a tramping ground and a beaten track. Tramping ground and a beaten track. But the city of my righteous ones will be a hindrance to their horses.
Now I want you to be careful how you hear, because this is in the video that I even paused it and said this. This is how important it is, you guys. I hope the point I'm trying to make is getting across. New Jerusalem. Okay, I won't pause it again for a long time. He's talking about the land of God's elect ones. And here he says the city of his righteous ones. And in my understanding, that city is up in the sky.
But the city of my righteous ones will be a hindrance to their horses, and they will stir up slaughter amongst themselves, and their own right hand will be strong against them. And a man will not admit to knowing his neighbor, or his brother, nor a son his father, or his mother, until, through their death, there are corpses enough, and their punishment it will not be in vain. And in those days Sheol will open its mouth, and they will sink into it.
The weird part about it is space is so incredibly black, so incredibly dark. It's a bottomless pit.
And their destruction. Sheol will swallow up the sinners in front of the faces of the chosen.
Because apparently this is something that we're debating. I have no idea why. And it's not okay to think that the earth is flat.
And I began to speak the third parable, about the righteous and about the chosen. Blessed are you, the righteous and the chosen, for your lot will be glorious, and the righteous will be in the light of the sun, and the chosen in the light of eternal life. And there will be no end to the days of their life, and the days of the holy will be without number. And they will seek the light, and will find righteousness with the Lord of spirits. Peace be to the righteous with the Lord of the world. And after this it will be said to the holy, that they should seek in the heaven the secrets of righteousness, the lot of faith. For it has become bright as the sun upon the dry ground, and darkness has passed away. And there will be ceaseless light, and to a limit of days they will not come, for darkness will have been destroyed previously.
Did you guys hear that? Darkness will have been destroyed previously. That darkness is going to consume a certain spinning ball that doesn't exist, and the truth is all that's going to be left, if you get what I'm saying.
I saw how the heaven of heavens was shaken violently, and the host of the Most High and the angels, 1,000 thousands and 10,000 times 10,000, were extremely disturbed.
I'm not going to leave this triggering thing on the screen very long, but That's a quote from Paul in a letter to the Ephesians. Talking about truth, talking about receiving the love of the truth. And there's truth in the world, people. There's truth that none of us knew. Let me go to Isaiah 48, because the Lord talks about it a little bit in kind of a cool way here. He tells us a little bit about it. Because he's not bound by time. So he wrote this a long time ago through the prophet Isaiah, just so we'd be reading it today. He says in Isaiah 48, I'll start in verse 3, one of my favorite verses, but I'm going to read a few verses. I have declared the former things from the beginning, and they went forth out of my mouth, and I showed them. I did them suddenly, and they came to pass. Because I knew that thou art obstinate, and thy neck is an iron sinew, and thy brow brass. I have even from the beginning declared it to thee. Before it came to pass, I showed it thee. Do you guys hear that? Before it came to pass, I showed it thee. I'm just going to explain what that means to me. At the foundation of the world, there's people in the world today that were present at the foundation of the world with Jesus. And they're witnesses to it. And now they're alive in this world, and that's the reason why they're here, is to bear witness to it and be to give their testimony about what they bear witness to, so that the world will believe on him. That's my take on it, but I'm going to keep reading here. Okay, I've even from the beginning declared it to thee. Before it came to pass, I showed it thee, lest thou shouldst say, mine idol hath done them, my graven image and my molten image hath commanded them. Like the Big Bang. Think about it. My molten image hath created them? No, God did. Okay, verse 6. Thou hast heard, see all this, and will ye not declare it? I have showed thee new things from this time, even hidden things, and thou didst not know them. They are created now, and not from the beginning, even before the day when thou heardest them not, lest thou shouldst say, behold, I knew them. Yea, thou heardest not, yea, thou knewest not. Yea, from that time thine ear was not opened. For I knew that thou wouldest deal very treacherously, and was called a transgressor from the womb. For my name's sake will I defer mine anger, and for my praise will I refrain for thee, that I cut thee not off. Behold, I have refined thee, but not with silver. I have chosen thee in the furnace of affliction. For mine own sake, even for mine own sake will I do it. For how should my name be polluted? And I will not give my glory to another. Hearken unto me, O Jacob and Israel, my called, I am he, I am the first, I am also the last. Mine hand also hath laid the foundation of the earth, and my right hand hath spanned the heavens. When I call unto them, they stand up together. All ye assemble yourselves, and hear, which among them hath declared these things. The Lord hath loved him, he will do his pleasure on Babylon, and his arm shall be on the Chaldeans. I, even I, have spoken, yea, I have called him, I have brought him, and he shall make his way prosperous. Come ye near unto me, hear ye this. I have not spoken in secret from the beginning. From the time that it was, there am I, and now the Lord God and his Spirit hath sent me. Thus saith the Lord, thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel, I am the Lord thy God, which teacheth thee to profit, which leadeth thee by the way that thou shouldest go. O that thou hadst hearkened to my commandments, then had thy peace been as a river, and thy righteousness as the waves of the sea. Thy seed also had been as the sand, and the offspring of thy bowels like the gravel thereof. His name should not have been cut off nor destroyed from before me. Go ye forth of Babylon, flee ye from the Chaldeans with a voice of singing. Declare this, tell this, utter it, even to the end of the earth. Say ye, the Lord hath redeemed his servant Jacob. And they thirsted not when he led them through the deserts. He caused the waters to flow out of the rock for them. He clave the rock also, and the waters gushed out. There is no peace, saith the Lord, unto the wicked. Good stuff for sure. That kind of reminded me of one other verse. Well, more than one verse, but okay, because he talks about like, I gotta find it. It's in Isaiah, right near these. Is it in 46? No, it's not. Things. Let's see here. 45, I think. 44. Okay, yeah, 44. Isaiah 44. Let's start in verse 21. Remember these, O Jacob and Israel, for thou art my servant. I have formed thee, thou art my servant. O Israel, thou shalt not be forgotten of me. I have blotted out as a thick cloud thy transgressions, and as a cloud thy sins. Return unto me, for I have redeemed thee. Let's see here. Let me go to the end of chapter 43. That's what it says here. Because this is kind of heavy. This is kind of heavy because this is talking, I think, to everyone. I'm going to start Isaiah 43, verse 21 also. This people have I formed for myself. They shall show forth my praise. But thou hast not called upon me, O Jacob. But thou hast been weary of me, O Israel. Thou hast not brought me the small cattle of thy burnt offerings, neither hast thou honored me with thy sacrifices. I have not caused thee to serve with an offering, nor wearied thee with incense. Thou hast bought me no sweet cane with money, neither hast thou filled me with the fat of thy sacrifices. But thou hast made me to serve with thy sins. Thou hast wearied me with thine iniquities. I, even I, am he that blotteth out thy transgressions for mine own sake, and will not remember thy sins. Put me in remembrance, let us plead together. Declare thou, that thou mayest be justified. This is him encouraging us to open our mouths and spit out the truth. Keeps saying it. Thy first father has sinned, and thy teachers have transgressed against me. Therefore I have profaned the princes of the sanctuary, and have given Jacob to the curse, and Israel to reproaches. So that I'm going to keep reading in chapter 44, verse 1. Yet now hear, O Jacob, my servant, and Israel, whom I have chosen. Thus saith the Lord that made thee, and formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, and thou Jezreel, whom I have chosen. For I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, and floods upon the dry ground. I will pour my spirit upon thy seed, and my blessing upon thine offspring. And they shall spring up as among the grass, as willows by the watercourses. One shall say, I am the Lord's, and another shall call himself by the name of Jacob. And another shall subscribe with his hand unto the Lord, and surname himself by the name of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, the King of Israel, and his Redeemer, the Lord of hosts, I am the first, and I am the last, and beside me there is no God. And who as I shall call, and shall declare it, and set it in order for me, since I appointed the ancient people. And the things that are coming, and shall come, let them show unto them. Oh, and of course I got this sitting on the screen right after I said I'm not going to leave it up long. Oh boy. We'll get Saturn up on the screen. Whoop. This is a video we're going to watch in a minute, but talking about what defiles mankind. What defiles mankind. Let's see here. Where was I in here? It was... Okay, verse 8. Fear ye not, neither be afraid. Have not I told thee from that time, and have declared it? Ye are even my witnesses. Is there a God beside me? Yea, there is no God. I know not any. It's talking about witnesses. His witnesses and then their own witnesses. Check this out. Verse 9. They that make a graven image are all of them vanity, and their delectable things shall not profit. And they are their own witnesses. They see not, nor know, that they may be ashamed. Who hath formed a god, or molten a graven image, that is profitable for nothing? Wow. Okay. This video, it's just me talking, I think. Mostly, anyway. So let's check it out. If I was to ask someone the simple question, what is sin? Or what is a sin? A lot of people would say it's transgression of the law. And there's a different way to think about that. How about this? Transgression of the law is a sin. But that doesn't come close to covering what sin is. So, transgression of the law is just transgression of the law, and that would be considered a sin. But that's not all there is. The law is not all there is. Sin doesn't keep you from entering the kingdom of God, because we have a Savior that came 2,000 years ago, and He's an awesome God. And that I'm not saying that sin is something that we should do. I'm saying that there is much more that defiles a man, that keeps him from the kingdom of God. In these times that we live in right now, there's things being revealed on a supernatural level that we just didn't comprehend or think about or didn't enter our mind before. And some of these things should possibly be taken into consideration, like what defiles a man. It's a good question. What defiles a man? Or you could say mankind. Because we can look to some scriptures, like transgression of the law, but we can also look to other books written by Enoch, say. Let's just say that book. Let me read something out of there. The first book of Enoch, chapter 19, verse 1. And Uriel said to me, Here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women, and their spirits, assuming many different forms, are defiling mankind, and shall lead them astray, into sacrificing to demons as gods. Here shall they stand till the day of the great judgment, in which they shall be judged till they are made an end of. Does anybody understand what that just said. Because that's something that, to me, has been revealed, and I've thought for a long time that this was something that people were just going to understand because it's right there on the page. But the concept isn't understood at all, I think. And I think it's a brand new thing. I never knew that. So I'm going to read that verse again. And this is, we can do a whole study on this. But Uriel is an angel that Enoch was with. And they were in a place that had become a prison. A spiritual place. And I'll read the verse now. Verse 1. And Uriel said to me, Here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women, and their spirits, assuming many different forms, are defiling mankind, and shall lead them astray into sacrificing to demons as gods. Here shall they stand till the day of the great judgment, in which they shall be judged. So, where are those angels? That's a deep subject. My next video will continue. So before Uriel told that to Enoch in the last video I did in chapter 19, they were in a place and Uriel was explaining something to Enoch. And so I'm going to go back a chapter to Enoch 18, verse 11 I'll start, so we can learn where Enoch is. Enoch chapter 18, verse 11. And I saw a deep abyss with columns of heavenly fire, and among them I saw columns of fire fall, which were beyond measure, alike towards the height and towards the mountains. Where are stars? We can look to the scriptures. So in the book of Jude, he mentions both the stars, those 7 stars, and he mentions those angels that connected themselves with women. In verse 6 in the book of Jude, and the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he hath reserved in everlasting chains under darkness, unto the judgment of the great day. So we can tie that in with what Uriel said to Enoch. Here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women. And then previously he said that this has become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven. So they're in that darkness. So, and then Jude verse 13, it says, raging waves of the sea, foaming out their own shame, wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. So those 7 stars are reserved in the raging waves of that sea. That's talking about the waters above, which are dark waters. In Genesis 1 verse 2, it says, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. So there were waters above, they were dark waters, and I think they're called the Great Deep, and they probably got a lot of other names. Verse 3 in Genesis 1 says, and God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. And then in Enoch chapter 41, verse 8, it says, for the sun changes oft for a blessing or a curse, and the course of the path of the moon is light to the righteous, and darkness to the sinners in the name of the Lord, who made a separation between the light and the darkness, and divided the spirits of men, and strengthened the spirits of righteous in the name of his righteousness. So here's where we get to something interesting in 2 Peter. 2 Peter 2 verse 4 talks about these angels again. For if God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell, and delivered them into chains of darkness, to be reserved unto judgment. And then it continues on. But it's talking about those angels, and it just said cast them down to hell, and delivered them into chains of darkness, to be reserved unto judgment. That's what we've been reading in all these cases, that they're under chains of darkness until judgment. So this darkness is a significant thing that we need to understand. Paul wrote in Ephesians 6 verse 12, very popular verse, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. That is what defiles a man. And there's many other things that defile a man. In the comment section of the first video I did, someone left a great comment, which I will read right now. It is Mark chapter 7 verses 14 through 23. And when he had called all the people unto him, he said unto them, Hearken unto me every one of you, and understand. There is nothing from without a man that entering into him can defile him, but the things which come out of him, those are they that defile the man. If any man have ears, let him hear. And when he was entered into the house from the people, his disciples asked him concerning the parable. And he saith unto them, Are ye so without understanding also? Do ye not perceive that whatsoever thing from without entereth into the man, it cannot defile him, because it entereth not into his heart, but into the belly, and goeth out into the drought, purging all meats? And he said, That which cometh out of the man, that defileth the man. For from within, out of the heart of men, proceedeth evil thoughts, adulteries, fornications, murders, thefts, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, an evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. All these evil things come from within and defile the man. So what comes out of a man? What comes out of a man's heart? It's what he believes, right? Among other things. So the rulers of the darkness of this world, where's the darkness of this world? It's space. It's outer darkness. There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And they asked him, saying, Master, but when shall these things be? And what sign will there be when these things shall come to pass? And he said, Take heed that ye be not deceived. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ. And the time draweth near, go ye not therefore after them. But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified. For these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. Then he said unto them, Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And great earthquakes shall be in divers places, and famines and pestilences and fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven. But before all these, they shall lay their hands on you and persecute you, delivering you up to the synagogues and into prisons, being brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake. And it shall turn to you for a testimony. Settle it therefore in your hearts not to meditate before what ye shall answer. For I will give you a mouth and wisdom, which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist. And ye shall be betrayed both by parents, and brethren, and kinsfolks, and friends, and some of you shall they cause to be put to death. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. But there shall not an hair of your head perish. In your patience possess ye your souls. And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck, in those days. For there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captives into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. For the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud, with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass,